Greetings and welcome to a special Monday night edition of the PLAAY Space Live. Keith Avalone from PLAAY Games. Sam is producing tonight's show. It's our, I don't want to call it annual, I think maybe semi-annual or biannual new free game show where we let you download a game that we've been working on and try it out. And that's what we're going to do tonight. Without further ado, I guess we'll just get right into it. We're gonna show you and give you the presidential election game that we've been working on called Battleground States. The concept behind the game, we've talked about this before. In fact, I believe we featured it in the game lab that we did a few months ago. The idea is harken back to the days when the presidential election was sort of unifying rather than divisive. Kind of like what the Super Bowl does. Kind of brings everybody together, although you might be cheering for different teams. This is not a simulation of this year's or any year's election. There are no politics involved in this game. We removed the politics to make it really a game about the electoral college, really. It is a great teaching tool, I think, as to how the electoral college works. We played this at WisCon, our get-together in Milwaukee back in April, and we played it again at PLAAY.con in the Designer Showcase back in June, and in both cases the game was very favorably received. So we put it together, and then Sam had some ideas on how to streamline things with this theme, and he featured that on his Studio Spicy Twitch channel stream. So we had a couple of different ideas for this game. Obviously, a game like this has a limited shelf life. Basically, every 4 years, people are interested in a game about the elections, and that window is shrinking as we rocket toward fall. So we wanted to get it out there for people to try out and play. But which version should we put out there? We were kind of both versions have pros and cons, so we decided, what the heck, let's package both versions into a single download and let you guys try them out and see what you think. So actually, it is new free games tonight. You'll get actually two different versions of the Battleground States game. We'll start with the original convention version of the game, and I will show that. And then Sam will come on and explain the spicy version of the game. And then we'll wrap up. That'll be tonight's show. So thanks for joining us. Glad you're here. Hope you enjoy. I think it's a cool game. It's not a long game. It's designed to be short, thematic, and fun. And let's go ahead and go to the game table and give you a look at the components and get right into it. So this is the original convention version of the game. There are two sets of strategy cards. It's a two-player game. We considered... I thought long and hard about trying to make this a three-player game because it'd be kind of cool to have a third candidate. And I think there are some possibilities there, but we'll leave that for another election cycle. This is a two-player game. You have 6 different strategies that you can call upon. You can campaign, and they're all classic campaign strategies. Advertise, which would be like media, TV, newspaper, radio. Fundraise, which is self-explanatory. Make deals, which is shaking hands and calling in favors. Spin, which we originally in both the Milwaukee and the PLAAY.con versions, we called this mudslinging. But I got to thinking that we're gonna make this as civil as possible, so we don't want any mudslinging. We're just gonna call it spin. It effectively allows you to remove your opponent's influence from states. And then there's the double deal, which is basically the way to counter making deals. I thought about calling it counter deal. We'll just leave it at double deal. So each of these cards has under its title the basic strategy of what it does. So double deal will thwart your opponent's deal making. The spin will remove your opponent's chips from states where he has placed them influence. Making deals will thwart the opponent's fundraising, campaigning, and advertising. Fundraising will obviously gain chips for future placement. Advertising and campaigning do sort of the same thing, but they work in different strengths based on what your opponent is called. Campaigning works best against fundraising, advertising, spin, or double deal, and advertising works against spin, make deals, and double deals. So depending on what you think your opponent is going to do, that's how you choose. And essentially, you choose your strategy. Your opponent chooses their strategy secretly. You reveal them together, and you resolve it. There are 10 turns to the game, each representing a month, until you get to election night. I believe this is a little election tracker here. The first, you start here, move your way down. We actually could have put months on here. This is October, September, January, February, March. So you'll basically do that 10 times. You'll choose a strategy, your opponent will choose a strategy, you'll reveal them, and then you'll resolve it. The cards are set up so that the resolution order is printed on the card. So let's say the orange candidate, and we use orange and purple rather than red and blue to further distance ourselves from contemporary politics. We have the orange candidate and the purple candidate. So let's say we'll just use these two since they're out. If the purple candidate decides to double deal, the orange candidate decides to campaign, you'll just cross-reference that. It'll say the same thing and in the same order. So double deal versus campaign, the orange is going to gain and place one chip. On the orange card, it will say the orange, where is it? Orange gains and places one chip. So that will be the order. The orange will go first. Now, sometimes you'll both do something like, for example, if the purple candidate had chosen to advertise, the purple would place, where is it? Advertise versus campaign. There we go. Purple would place 2 chips, and then the orange would place 3 chips. It says the same thing on both of them, and that would be the order that it happens. The purple candidate would place his chips. The orange player would then place their chips. So that is essentially how the game works. You do that 10 times, and then you have election night. I guess I need to get the state cards out here. So you've got cards, a deck of 50 cards. Now the deck that you have in your download, I can't resist shuffling when I get a deck of cards, so I'm going to shuffle this one time, even though they're thoroughly shuffled. The deck that you will get in your download will have state silhouettes on here. This deck does not, but we'll put them out there. So you'll randomly choose 6 battleground states. There's always 6 states. They're the battleground states, and they don't necessarily match up with contemporary politics. Again, you could have Wyoming can be a battleground state. It's assumed that the other states are all decided. And it's further assumed in this game that the other states are all decided, and it's a dead heat. So the battleground states are going to determine who wins the presidency. Again, we've dispensed with all the counting for all the other states. It all comes down to these 6 states. So we'll choose 6 states at random, and it can be different. I mean, every game is different depending on the states that you get. We're going to have Illinois, Louisiana, Texas, Utah, Alaska, and Maine. Now, one of the things that we talked about in the design aspect of this was, okay, so we've got a situation here where you've got Texas in play, and it has more electoral votes than the others combined. Let's see, it's 27. Yeah, it actually has exactly the same. In this case, this should be, I think, 27, 34. It says 40 electoral votes between these and 40 in Texas. So it prompted quite a bit of discussion as to how should we resolve that, because basically you're really only playing for whoever wins Texas is going to win the election. And Sam and I didn't agree on this. I felt like the game plays fine with just one battleground state. If we just take all these states out of here, and this is the way I would play it if I dealt this, we would just play all our chips into and out of Texas, because that's basically where the election comes down. And it's conceivable that could be an actual election scenario where it comes down to one state, and whoever wins that state is going to win the election. Sam's version treats it a little bit differently, but I'll let him explain that. And I will also take Texas out of play here so that you can get an idea of how a normal scenario will play. So we'll put Maine. Let's just deal out another state here at random. All right, South Carolina. So these are the 6 battleground states. And we do have one that has more. This is going to be the key state, Illinois, but it's not going to decide necessarily who's going to win the election. All right, so we would have these 6 states out. We would one player would be the orange candidate, one player would be the purple candidate, and we would choose and make our choices secretly. Let's just say so. Again, the way I envision the game started is nobody has any chips to start. So essentially, you've got to acquire. Your first turn is going to be a little bit different than the rest of your turns, because you will need to get chips, and there are different ways to get chips. Essentially, you can make deals or you can fundraise. And again, in a design context, there are pluses and minuses. So on the spicy stream, they talked about how you want to start with some chips, so that you don't. So there's less. It's less obvious what you're going to be doing on your first turn. I feel like the first turn could be different, and you've got some choices, and how those choices pan out will actually have an inflection on how the rest of the game will go. So I think that's cool. Other gamers don't think that's cool. So again, you can play it either way with either version and decide for yourself. We'll play this the convention way, which is we start with no chips. So let's just say I'm the orange candidate, or I'll be the purple candidate, and I will choose to fundraise. And let's just say that the orange candidate has figured me out, and they're going to make deals. In which case, I'm going to gain. We're going to check on the card. I'm going to gain, the purple candidate will gain 2 chips, and I'll get my little chips out here. You do need to have some kind of chips or markers or whatever. I would gain 2 chips, and the orange candidate would gain 3 chips. All right, let's get 3 orange chips out there, and that would be turn 1. So we see we're starting the game at an imbalance. We're starting the game and we're not equal because he made a better choice than I did. So our second turn, we would let's just say I think I might want to fundraise again because I've only got 2 chips, and I don't think he's going to fundraise because he's got 3. So I'll fundraise, and let's say he decides to advertise. All right, so we reveal that, and that means that I'm going to gain 5 chips, which is nice, although I haven't placed any. And he's going to place 2 chips. So he will place 2 chips, and let's just say he puts one in Illinois and one in South Carolina, and we move to turn 3. So the game progresses like that, and there's an ebb and flow in as you place chips, you begin to deplete your chips. Now you can see I got a big advantage in terms of my war chest here, but he's got the advantage in terms of chips placed, and it's only a 10-turn game, so each turn is pretty significant. Anyway, that essentially that's how the game is played. You get down to the last turn, and then you have the election. Let's just say, for the sake of discussion, that at the end of on turn 10. Oh, and when you place in my version, in the convention version, if you place a chip into a state that already has a chip of a different color, it just cancels it out. So if I placed a purple chip in South Carolina, there would be no chips in South Carolina. It'd be an even state. So let's just throw some chips out here. Let's just say Louisiana has 2 purple, and let's say a slight advantage in Illinois for orange, and let's go with a scenario like this. All right. Then we're gonna have our election. And this typically takes, to get to the election night, it's I would say a 10 or 15 minute game tops. It's not a long playing game. There's 10 choices that you make, and then you have the election. I'm going to use decider die. It's basically a coin flip type thing. And if you have a chip in there, you basically get an extra coin flip in your favor if you don't get an outcome you like. Or you can look at it a different way. These are orange decider dice, so I would roll 2 deciders in South Carolina and 2 deciders in Illinois. In Maine, I would roll 1, and if it was blank, it would go to the purple. In Louisiana, I'd roll 3 because I've got 2 chips, and if any one of them was purple, or in this case blank, then I would win Louisiana. So let's just have our election right now. Then I'll show you the solo version of this game. And then I'll let Sam step in and show you the spicy version of the game. All right, so let's have our election. Let's go ahead and do Utah first. So we're going to start with this decider. If I roll a purple, I get to roll 2 purples, actually. If either of these are blank, I'm going to win Utah. Okay, so I get Utah on my side. We go to Illinois. So Illinois is going to roll 2, and if they get 1 orange, they get Illinois. And so Illinois goes to the orange candidate. All right, so I've got 2 in Louisiana. So I'm going to roll 3, and if any of them are blank, then I'm going to win Louisiana. If they're all orange, then Louisiana goes to the orange. All right, so I get Louisiana. Alaska. So these 2 are coin flips. So basically, if it's orange, it goes to the orange. If it's blank, it goes to me. So it's going to go to the orange. Here's Maine. That's going to go to me. Let's count up our electoral votes right now. I've got 18. He's got 22, so it is going to come down to South Carolina, and the orange candidate has an advantage. So if either of these, we're going to roll for this, and if either of them are orange, then South Carolina goes orange, and the orange candidate is going to win. If they're both blank, though, I'm going to pull off an upset. Oh, look at that. I got an upset. So I pulled off the upset win. The late-breaking polls were wrong, and I win the election. All right, so that's how the election part of it works. I'm going to quickly show you how the solo version works. So in the solo version, you are always the human player is always the purple candidate. The robo player is the orange candidate, and we've got 7 different candidates, and they're sort of thematic. We got the average candidate who's not really pretty beatable. The guy with deep pockets who fundraises a lot. Here's the power monger who likes to spin and double deal. The mudslinger. Similar. The incumbent who is tough to defeat, the strong incumbent who is almost impossible to defeat, and then the straight shooter and a card with auto candidate rules. So the strong incumbent and a couple of the other ones have a different mechanic on it called the gotcha, and I borrowed that from Fury Football, which I've also been playing a lot of lately in my spare time. And essentially, this sort of makes up for the lack of, for the artificial intelligence of the orange candidate. So when you roll a gotcha result, it's going to be an automatic. The orange candidate is going to gain 1 and place 1. So it makes them the more gotchas they have and the stronger they're placed, the more difficult it is to defeat this candidate. So we'll go ahead and just show you a couple of turns against the strong incumbent. And I will take the purple cards. We'll start on turn 1. No, so I'm going to want to fundraise probably, and then we'll roll these 2 dice, and then whatever comes up, that's what he's going to do. Now there are a couple of rules that I will explain, and they're on the card. So the auto candidate will not fundraise if they have 4 or more chips in available. They're just going to keep on raising funds if they've already got sufficient funds. So if they have 4 or more chips when they roll fundraising, you roll again. They are also obviously don't advertise or campaign if they don't have any chips. You'll roll again. They will also not spin if I don't have any chips to remove. So you'll just roll again. And the gotcha I just explained to you. So let's go ahead and just do a turn or 2. So I'll fundraise, and the strong incumbent will campaign. Well, actually, he doesn't have any chips, so I would roll again because he's either going to fundraise or make deals. And 6 is going to be advertised, so I would just keep rolling this by the fundraise. So he's going to fundraise too. We're both fundraising, so we would each get 5 chips. I would choose 5 for me. And 5 for him. Now, mind you, this is the strong incumbent. He's going to be extremely difficult to beat. I guess I probably should put my states out, shouldn't I? That would be turn 2. Let's put our states out. We've got Nebraska. We've got Arkansas. Georgia. Let's see. Wisconsin. And we have Montana and Missouri. All right. Each have 5. We'll just do a couple of turns here. So now I will. Let's see. I've got chips. I want to get him out there. He's got chips too. I would also. It really helps me to prevent him from getting chips or to, get my own chips out there more than him. I'll go ahead and campaign, and he will make deals. So we check on this card. Campaign versus make deals. I'm going to place 3. He's going to place 1. So I get the early advantage. I'll put 1 here, and 1 here. He will place 1 chip, and the rules say he will place it in the highest state, starting highest and descending. So he'll put his chip in Georgia, take away mine. So that's where we would be at the end of turn 2. Turn 3, I think I might want to fundraise. I've only got 2, so I'll fundraise. He's still got 4 left. Let's see what he does. 11. It's a gotcha. So he's going to gain. He's not going to use one of his. He's going to gain 1 from the pool and place it. And he'll put it in the highest one. He'll put it in Wisconsin. All right, and that is turn 4. We'll do 1 more. I'm going to, again, try to fundraise here. 10. He's going to double deal. So I'm fundraising. He's double dealing. I'm going to gain 1 chip. He got me on that. So I only get 1 chip. Anyway, so that's how it will work. I guess I was looking at the wrong chips here, but you get the idea. Again, the game plays very quickly, and there's some interesting decision-making. And the election is fun, too, to see who actually wins the election. I think that is really all I have to say about it. Let me look at my notes. I think I covered everything. again, the rules are included in the download. Yeah. I think that, Sammy, you ready to jump in here and show your version?
Sure.
Any questions? Post them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them while at the keyboard. All right. I'm going to step out. Sam's going to step in.
Cards are over there?
The state cards I'm going to leave out. I'm going to leave the track out and leave the chips out, right? And I will...
Yeah, where's my cards?
I thought you were going to print them.
Is the same as the ones that we played with.
I thought you were...
still upstairs?
I believe they are.
From upstairs.
So I got to kill time. All right. Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna. I'll just go ahead and finish my election then. Where was I here? I think I don't remember exactly where I was. I know I had 4 chips here, and the orange candidate was. I see what I did. I had the orange chips over here and the purple chips over here.
All right. All right.
All right, you ready? Okay. I thought it would take them longer to find those. I didn't exactly remember where I put them. All right, so I'm going to take these out. I'm going to leave the states out.
Yeah, sure.
And everything else I'm going to set up. All right, I'll be back after Sam's done.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
It's got the Def Leppard shirt.
Yeah, Keith always makes fun of me for wearing this shirt.
I love that shirt. I love that band.
Yeah, okay. He says that. You should hear the tone sometimes.
No,
sometimes the tone's a little different than that.
No, I love Def Leppard.
Just making sure I didn't accidentally mute the mic. This is the problem, by the way. When our mic was muted on the stream the other night, we discovered there's this little mute button that's very easy to press on the bottom of the microphone. So I want to make sure I didn't hit that again on my way in. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. Hopefully you like what you're seeing so far. I'll say right now there's really not that much different with my version of the game, so this should go pretty quick. I also don't have a solo component for this. I suppose you could try... Well, no. The other Keith's solo component wouldn't really work super well. Wouldn't be super compatible. So, yeah, I mean, my feeling on this kind of thing is that this game shines in a 2-player environment anyways. It's a head-to-head game. Obviously, if you don't have a second person to play with, then it's good to have that solo thing, but I feel like, you know, the game is what it is. So no solo for my version, which does mean that it's going to be a little difficult to demonstrate all the nuance and decision-making that goes into the process here. But I'll do my best to kind of just, you know, top level, highlight all of the changes that have been made. And again, there's really not that many changes, but let's go over them. So once again, there's 6 cards for each candidate. Each candidate gets 6 cards. The main change, which I think you'll see right off the bat, is that I have categorized the strategies into 3 different categories. So there's aggressive strategies, moderate strategies, and reactive strategies. And instead of the cards having a result listed for each, you know, each possible individual strategy that it could go up against, instead they have results. They have just 2 results on the card. Much simpler. And this kind of is a good opportunity to talk about, you know, why I made these changes. My main, I think, critique of these cards is not in the mechanics at all. It's just in the presentation. To me, you know, when Keith was first showing me this game, I'm getting overwhelmed looking at these cards. There's like a lot going on here, and it's hard. This lineup here helps, I will say. This is a later edition that kind of describes in a nutshell what the strategy is trying to do. So that's definitely an improvement and makes this definitely more understandable. But, you know, there's a lot of reading that has to go on before you really know the full range of options available to you on these cards. Enter these cards. 2 options. 2 possible things that it could do. And I think it kind of highlights better. It makes the game more about you doing what you want to do and de-emphasizes on the cards, you thinking about what your opponent wants to do. Now, don't get me wrong, that is 100% still in the game. All of the thinking and double thinking and triple thinking even sometimes is definitely still there, but it's just not as... the design of the cards doesn't emphasize that as much. Whether or not that's a improvement, I guess, is up to you. You know, it's your decision to make. And so that's a lot of the reason why we've put both versions of the game available on the site for you to have a look at and let us know. Please let us know what you think, what you prefer, any further changes that you would recommend or would like to see. So yeah, that is the main change, is that there's categories, and now each card does two things. So for example, if Orange Candidate was to play the campaign strategy, and the purple candidate was to play the advertised strategy. So this card, by the way, this election night turn tracker, will tell you who is resolving their strategy first, as opposed to the other version where the card will tell you who resolves first. On this, it's very simple. You just, whoever's color is on that turn, that's who resolves their card first. So we're on the first turn. The orange candidate's going to resolve theirs first. So you see which type of strategy they're up against. They're up against an aggressive strategy, so that means they're going to place 2 chips. Also worth pointing out, you start with 3 chips in this version of the game. So, you would have some chips to start off the game with. I think Keith mentioned that when he was going over the start of the other version. So I would place 2 chips. And then... so, by the way, while we're talking about this would sort of be considered the purple candidate getting the upper hand on the orange candidate here. You can see that the orange candidate really wanted a moderate result, a moderate strategy to go up against, because I would have gotten to place more chips that way. So whether the purple candidate did this on purpose, trying to thwart the orange candidate, or whether this is what they wanted to do anyways, is kind of up for debate. But that's one way to look at it. Also worth pointing out that the difference in these two strategies. So they both are going to place chips. Aggressive strategies tend to be higher reward, higher risk. So this place 4 chips, or you might only place 1 chip. Whereas the moderate strategy is either going to place 3 chips or places 2 chips. We could spend 20 minutes easily going through all the different matchups in this deck and how all the different cards interact. I'm telling you, there is a lot of nuance there that's kind of hard to explain verbally. You really just have to sit down and hold the cards in your hand and think about what the person sitting across the table from you is thinking, and that's the best way to grasp it. So I won't spend too much more time talking about the cards. I will go over the one other change, though, in this version of the game, which is that when you place chips in a state that your opponent already has chips in, you don't remove theirs. You just pile up as many as you want from both players. And then at the end of the game, instead of doing the decider die rolls, instead we're just going to roll dice and then add the chips that we have in that state as like a modifier to the die roll. Now we have D6s here. I actually recommend playing with D4s if you have D4s available. That kind of emphasizes the chips a little bit more, makes the chip placement more important. But D6s will do in a pinch. It makes the game a little more random. So it's kind of up to you. I think I would prefer it with D4s, but try it both ways. See what you think. So in this case, well, let's give orange a few more chips in this state just so it's more interesting. They've got 4, purple has 2. Orange gets a 3. So if purple rolls a what would they need here? They would need a 6, or let's just roll and see what happens. Okay, so they get 4. So purple has 6 points. Orange has 7 points. So it's a narrow victory, but orange does win the race in Nebraska. And so you would just go through each of the cards and resolve it the same way. Whoever ends up with the most electoral college votes at the end of the game wins. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I've got. I guess it's time for Keith to get back in here. I will point out, by the way, before I leave, the game is available on spicy.com. The link is in the description right now. I just posted it in there. We went back and forth on whether to post this on play.com, spicy.com, post it on both. I forget why we landed on just posting it on spicy.com in the end, but that is where it is. So that's where you can find it. You just click the link. It takes you to the demos page, which I'm going to put more stuff on, by the way, in the very near future. The goal is to put all of the games that I work on my Studio Spicy streams up on that demo page for you to go in and give it a try yourself. So definitely keep checking back there if you're interested in more new free games. So that'd be my one plug. I guess my other plug is that I think I'm going to play this on stream on Wednesday. So if you're liking what you're seeing here and you want to see it played head to head, I'm going to have my buddy Arl on, and we'll give this another go on stream with some of the changes that we've made since then. So look forward to that. I'll see you there if you're interested. That's going to be Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm trying to do my best to get our time zones into Eastern time for the Studio Spicy stream. So 4 p.m. Eastern. We usually go for about 3 hours, so 4 to 7. If you're available, come tune in. Check it out. Love to see you there. Yeah, that's all I got, though. I'm going to toss it back to Keith. And yeah, thanks again. See you later.
All right, so there you have it. Really, truth is that both versions are fun. Both versions have their strong points, and feel free to try them both out. It's as I said at the outset, it's fast, it's fun, it's thematic, and I think you'll get some enjoyment out of it, and hope you do. Find some time to download it. We have a couple other news notes. Let's see, no stream this Thursday night. We moved it to this Monday night because I'm going to be in Chicago this coming Thursday. I'm actually going to be hanging out with Marco Scola. We're going to be playing this game and several others that we have in the pipeline. We've been planning this trip for a while now. It'd be good to get to see Marco in person. He didn't get to come to the Wisconsin event because of health issues. So it's exciting to be able to go visit him. Me and Travis are going to make the trip down there on Thursday and hang out. So that's why there'll be no stream here on Thursday. We will have a stream next Thursday. It'll be our 50th anniversary of the World Football League stream as I prepare to head out to Canton, Ohio next weekend. So we'll have the WFL full play retro team cards for second season, and also the 2024 World Football League remix cards for Fury Football, which turned out really cool. I mentioned earlier in the stream that I've been playing a lot of Fury Football. That's where I got the gotcha thing, and I've been playing incessantly World Football League games. It's been super fun. So we'll have that for you next Thursday night. Also, quick reminder that we did go live this afternoon with the 1981 Pro Season for History Maker Baseball. It's available both print and PDF, and you can find that on the website right there on the front page. Just click the button for the product link. If you're on the wait list, you should have gotten an email letting you know that those products are now available. Hope you have a great week. Thanks a lot for watching. We appreciate you being here tonight, and appreciate you being part of our amazing community of board gamers. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week right here on the Play Space Live.